You touched on something that's really important, which is entering a precious metals bull market. Okay, and you've seen a few of these cycles, right? And with each one, you get smarter and you make adjustments to your strategy and your game plan. What, at this stage of the game, what's the best strategy? Is it a quantity game where you just try to make a long list and acquire a little bit, or do you narrow it down to just quality deals?
I believe that maybe I'm a little different because there's 180 employees of Sprott worldwide, so I have access to lots of people who will do work for me. Most investors have lives, and there's only a limited amount of time that they can spend in their portfolio. I would suggest that for most smart high net worth retail investors, they limit the names in their portfolio to the numbers of hours per month that they're willing to spend studying the companies. Going to conferences, reading proxies, reading annual reports, reading press releases, calling managements, calling their brokers if they have it. So if you're willing to spend 10 hours a month on your portfolio, I think you should limit yourself to 10 stocks. Warren Buffett says the same thing. He says, regard your portfolio as a hog trough, and there's room on the trough for 12 hogs. In order to bring in a new, hungry, active hog, you got to kick an old fat one off the trough. And I think that's important to do. I think it's really important to focus and concentrate.
Yeah.
I think having more companies than you can reasonably follow merely increases the frequency with which you'll have to accept losses.
Do you think it's smart to also pick jurisdictions that you feel better about, or would you spread it around?
I think knowledge is a better substitute for diversification. I think political risk is something that, as an example, or jurisdiction is something that we could talk about in another interview, because that's a half-an-hour discussion in and of itself. It is certainly important to know your biases. There are some biases, some prejudices which I have, which I realize are irrational, but I also realize I've had them for 40 years. And if I'm going to be uncomfortable about a holding, and it's going to cause me to be less rational as a speculator than I should otherwise be, I shouldn't own it. It's not a flaw with the company, it's a flaw with me.